Welcome, Wild Hives Community. This is Rob and Sonja again, another hot day at the end of July. I would encourage you, if you haven't seen it, to check out our last video that was on robbing. Now is really a time to start considering how you're going to approach that, and just understand that the bees are getting a little bit more agitated because of reduced resources. But today I wanted to talk about our 20 frame hive. And a lot of people who have lands have 20 frame hives. Some people have tried to build something a little bit bigger. I think that's a little hard to manage, especially if we want to pick it up and move it. This is a really good size, fully insulated, insulated at the top. The only parts that you have for a lance hive is really in this box and the lid. So what happens as you're going toward the end of July, and maybe you have taken some honey, but your colony has really started to expand. And that's the situation with this one, and especially with the way we do our frame cycling. We put our empty frames of comb close to the brood to allow her to continue to expand through July. But what that does is it allows her to build up brood on all the frames. And this particular hive just a couple weeks ago had brood from the second one in all the way to the end. So almost 20, if not 19 frames of brood. And the patterns were smaller, some were larger. The ones here in the middle were certainly full frames. The ones toward the end were smaller patterns. But what do? Do you get worried? Do you get excited about, oh, I've got to do something, I need to pull more frames, but you can't really pull the frames because they have brood on them. So what do? Well, the first thing I would draw your attention to is what Layens, the creator of this hive, said back in 1860s. And he said, the farther you get away from the tree, the less your hive is adaptable by the bees. So the bees want something that mimics a tree. And frankly, in a tree, the cavity size is only the size that the cavity is. They're not going to build a bigger cavity. They're not going to add a second story onto the cavity inside of a tree. So what I decided to do was leave them alone, knowing that during this time of the year, especially as we're approaching and getting into dearth, she's going to start laying less. And why is that? Because there's less resources coming in. So she's going to naturally start laying less brood, which means she's going to start bringing her brood area more into the center, leaving these empty frames out on the ends to be backfilled with whatever the colony can bring in the way of nectar or pollen. That is exactly what has happened. So these frames used to had brood on them, but now they're full of nectar. I've found her about 4 frames in from where she was before. And I think this is a natural behavior that you would find in any tree, and something you as a beekeeper, especially a natural beekeeper, can rely on to know that you don't have to make your box 30 frames wide or 40 frames wide. You can keep your box at a standard size and know that the bees themselves will contract and expand based on the season, based on the resources, based on the temperatures. So I just wanted to send that out to you, have that so you can have that in your mind. If you have any hives like ours, which are really built out, don't worry. Bees know what to do. You can simply allow them to do their job, and they will do it. And know that in the fall, these may be frames here at the end now that I can possibly pull if I need to or want to for my own use, or I'll have them for extra feed, especially in the spring if I want to store them. So again, hopefully you've checked out our other hive video on robbing, and this one is simply on how to allow the bees to do what the bees do during this time of the year at the end of July going into dearth. So we'll see you again. This is Wild Hives, Rob and Sonja. See you later.